In this video, we are going to see some of the productivity tips that we can use in VS Code to write code faster. And the first thing we'll see is some of the navigation thing we can use while using VS Code. So in VS Code, you can see on the left hand side, you have a sidebar, and this is your main section. Sometimes when you're writing code, you'd always want to hide this because it becomes a hint. So the simplest way to do that, you can just say Command+B. And it will hide. Next time you press Command+V, it will come back. You can use this to focus and work on the main thing that you're working. Similarly, some of the time you're writing code and you'd want to use terminal for some purposes like committing a file or maybe pushing it to GitHub. For that, you will need access to terminal. You can always go ahead and use this section to go to the terminal, but remembering a shortcode is always very easy to do that. And the way to open terminal in VS Code is by pressing Command+J. As soon as you do that, you will see the terminal here. When you press Command+J again, it will go back. If you want to use it for some purpose, you can just say ls and it will give you the list of all those files here. I want to hide it. I'll just go ahead and press Command+J. I want to hide sidebar. I'll just say Command+B. And if I do it again, it will come back. Say sometimes you want to search for some keyword or key terms. You can just use Command+Shift+F and search for whatever you are searching for. Say for example, I want to search for first. I typed first and pressed enter. Here you can see all the occurrence of first in this folder. It will be visible here. Now if you want to go back to your Explorer, you can say Command+Shift+E. So this is about navigation and searching. Now let's move on to the next and really exciting part, that is selecting multiple items or using multiple lines. So in real world example, we have code like this where we have variable like house, first, and we're using that variable writing function, calling function, etc. So say I decided to change the name first to something else like user, so I can just go ahead and change it and save the file. But changing this variable name has no effect on changing wherever you're using that variable. So I will have to manually go at all these places and change that. But you can see one thing, as soon as I go and select this word, all these other occurrence of that word gets highlighted. And you can use Command+D to select multiple instances of the same word. Like say first, as soon as I pressed Command+D, the second one got selected. Similarly, I can press it again and you can see the third one got selected. I can keep pressing it until I go to the last. Now what if I want to change that? I'll change it to user and save it. So in that way, you can change the multiple occurrence of the same word with just few keystrokes. But in this case, you have to press multiple times Command+D to select multiple instances of that word. But what if I just want to select all of it with just one keystroke? So there is another command for that, and that is Command+Shift+L. As soon as you do that, all the occurrence of user got selected and we can change it to first again. And this is much more faster. So you should be using command whenever you want to change few occurrence, but if you want to change all the occurrence, use Command+Shift+L. So that was about selecting. Let's understand the use case for multi-line edits. And to understand that, I'll go ahead and define some variables. So here we have 8 variables and the value of them are 1, 2, or most of them are 1. So here we can see all these variable names are either defined with let or var. I want to change that to const. I cannot use Command+Shift+L because it will not select var. So what can I do? I will have to use multi-line edits. And to do that, what I can do, I can select at a place and then I can create multi-line edit by pressing Option, Command and down arrow. And you can see it is creating multi-line edits. Here I can just delete it. I want to add something, I can just add it. But I'll just go ahead and change that to const. So this will become really easy to do that. So using Option, Command and down and up arrow, you can create multi-line edits. Now let's go ahead and change the value of this 2, 1, 1 or something to 2, 3, 4, 5. So to do that, I'll use multi-line edits because that's what we learned right now. So I'll say option command down arrow. It will select 4. Here I needed to select till line number 27, but by mistake I selected line number 28 also. To undo that, we can just say Command+U and it will go up. Now the selection is only till line number 27. And what we can do is we can go to the value, we can press Shift and right arrow to select this. We'll say Command+C, come back here, delete this and say Command+V. So in that way, you can edit, you can manipulate, you can change and do a lot of stuff much faster than you can normally do. So in this way, VS Code will be very, very effective and you can write code really, really fast. So here we just talked about some of the short codes that I thought was good enough for you to start. But here I've given you the links for all 3 PDFs for different operating systems like macOS, Linux and Windows. Here all the things that I'm using, it is only for Mac. You can go ahead and look for alternative on different links. To understand this, what I can do is, this is for macOS and all these keyboard shortcuts are categorized into different categories like general, basic editing, multi-cursor and selection. Daily you should remember 1 or 2 that is useful for you and use this in your daily life. This will really, really enhance your experience of writing code in VS Code. I find selecting and multi-line edits to be my productivity hack that I use every day to write code faster. Being a programmer is not only about learning to code or learning to program, it's also about understanding and using your tools effectively. Things like VS Code or Terminal, you need to learn those things that will make you really effective programmer. So go ahead and learn few and use it to be more productive.